That's right, Marilyn Monroe was in a movie that had a trans character. Hi, I'm Mizzz Sally Pryde with 3 Z's and Y because why not? In this video we're going to be talking about... So the film starts off with 2 jazz musicians, Joe and this is in the time of Prohibition, so the mafia has a lot of control, and there's this gun chase with the cops, and they end up trying to shut down a bar that serves alcohol because, you know, it was illegal during this time for some reason. And the mob bosses have some very stereotypical Italian names.
Oh, come on, Spats. We know you own the joint. Mozzarella's just fronting for you. Mozzarella? Never heard of him.
Which, I don't know if any Italians actually have that name. You know, it's a comedy from the 50s, what do you expect? And these 2 musicians, they hear about this job going on, that they could go to Florida, but they have to be girls to do it. And since they witnessed a violent crime, they decide to go dressed up like women in hiding. Not to mention that's some pretty impressive makeup for their first day. And they get right, they're going on the train, and guess who they meet? It's Marilyn Monroe, and she's playing Sugar Cane. She used to be named Sugar Duvall, but she changed it. And she has a bit of a drinking problem. They end up saving her. And then there's a whole bunch of commotion around that. Eventually they're caught up with the mafia. One of the characters, Daphne, ends up getting engaged to a guy, and Josephine hits it off with Marilyn Monroe's character. Joe tries to play it off as like he's asexual. It's like a flirting technique.
But there are certain men who would try to take advantage of a situation like this.
You're flattering me.
Of course, I'm sure you're a gentleman.
Oh, it's not that. It's just that I'm, harmless.
Harmless? How?
Well, I don't know how to put it, but I've got this thing about girls. Well, it's more like a mental block. When I'm with a girl, it does absolutely nothing to me.
Have you tried?
Have I? I'm trying all the time.
I don't get it. And the 4 of them escape. And there's the famous line at the end.
But you don't understand, Osgood. I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
Despite the ending, and I'll get to that when I get to it, I think Daphne is trans. But I'm also being clear here. Joe's not trans. And the reason I say this is, at the start of the film, Daphne is really enthusiastic about getting into this job and dressing like women.
And you gotta be girls. We couldn't know we could.
Joe is only willing to go along with it once their lives are in danger. Once they're on their journey, there is no switching for Daphne. She stays as Daphne throughout the entire film, and she enjoys that. She clearly enjoys that. Whereas Josephine isn't like that. He returns to being Joe. That's pretty cis behavior right there. And as a trans woman, one of the things that's really big about being trans, at least in my own experience, was once you're living the part, you never want to leave, and you get lost in the role. Before I transitioned and tried to live as a male, I never had that feeling. It was hell. But now that I've transitioned, I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm just happy. And I think that's one of the things this film shows off very well. Despite everything going on, Joe's still switching back and forth. He's still going back to his male identity. Now, you could debate if that's gender fluidity, but I don't. He's clearly just trying to evade. But Daphne, on the other hand, she meets this guy, and while she's uncomfortable at first, understandably, she takes a liking to him. When he proposes, there's a question of, who's the lucky girl? And she says, me. And the reason I like that is because, well, she really is lost in the role, and she's saying, I am the lucky girl. Because, well, she is. And to be clear here, being attracted to men doesn't mean you're trans, because sexual orientation is different than your gender identity. Sexual orientation is who you want to go to bed with. Gender identity is who you go to bed as. And Joe has the question of, why would a man want to marry another man? There are lots of reasons, like, men are sexy, or they can be good person, stuff like that.
Security.
That's a really interesting perspective there, huh, Daphne? And not to mention there are a few moments there which I actually find really relatable to being a trans woman, where you're hanging out with the girls, and we talk about our bodies. That's just how life is for a lot of us.
You're such a big girl.
Oh, sure, you should have seen me before I went to diet. Oh,
I mean, your shoulders and your arms.
oh well, that's from carrying that full fiddle around all day.
Oh, there's one thing I envy you for.
What's that?
You're so flat-chested. Clothes hang better on you than they do on me.
Well, in this case, there's the element of they don't know that she's trans, but they talk about, hey, I really like this part of your body, even though she didn't think of it. That's pretty trans. And finally, let's talk about the ending. She takes her wig off and says she's a man, and her partner says, nobody's perfect, which is the perfect thing there. And I know a lot of you are going to say, isn't this a disqualification for her being trans? I mean, she literally called herself a man. Based on what was known societally at the time, that may be all the information she knew. Seriously, this came out in the 50s. So, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I have a whole bunch of other videos. I've even made a video all about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and you can watch it somewhere on screen here. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, give this video a like, subscribe, respectful comment, and you can watch that video about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Thank you so much. Goodbye.